Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, spoke yesterday following that brutal performance against the Commandos on Sunday. He spoke yesterday about potentially giving up play calling duties to offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey and also what needs to change on offense.
I think there's a bunch of different things, Mary Kay, that we want to look at and see how we're doing from a operations standpoint on offense. I think Ken's been an outstanding partner in all of this. So those are the type of things that I will always look at. But really, it just gets back to making sure that we're putting our guys in position is what we'll look at ultimately. I have to coach better. As offensive coaches, we have to coach better. As players, we have to play better. Deshaun can play better. He will play better. He's had some obviously good moments, and then there's times that we have to play better around him. But he's committed to getting better. We're committed as an offense to putting our guys in position to succeed.
All right, just a couple of things.
Can we stop making excuses for Deshaun Watson?
What good moments has he had?
None. And can we stop, though? Like, someone will post a photo of one drop and be like, there it is. His wide receivers don't have his back, man. They can't. Stop. The offensive line, 7 sacks. Go back and watch the tape. How many of those did he bring on himself? How many times is he running around scrambling when he's in a clean pocket? He could step up and make a throw. Or how about this? Here's a novel. Throw the football away. Like, it's unbelievable. This is a Deshaun Watson issue dating back to even when he was a Pro Bowler in Houston. Even when he was a Pro Bowler in Houston, he dealt with this. In 2018, he's a Pro Bowler. He actually led the league in sacks that year. He led the league in sack yards as well, which means he's running back out of the pocket or horizontally. He's not even trying to get up to the line of scrimmage. So spare me the excuses. I'm tired of it at this point. This team's too talented. You have a coach who won Coach of the Year last year. We watched an offense that was operating better with a guy who wasn't even on the roster to start the season at quarterback. And they didn't want to bring Joe Flacco back. Why? We just watched him throw for over 300 yards. Has Deshaun Watson thrown for over 300 yards as a Cleveland Brown yet?
No.
Can someone look that up? Has he done that yet? Flacco just did that last week for the Colts. And yet they didn't want to bring him back. Why? Because he was, threatening to Deshaun Watson? Or whatever they want to make up, or Jimmy Haslam, or whoever in the front office? It's unbelievable to hear all the excuses that are made. Look, I've said since day one, since they've got Deshaun Watson, forget the off-the-field stuff. Still shocking that he gets the contract and they trade for him with all of that. This was never a good match with Kevin Stefanski's offense and what Deshaun Watson wants to do. It's never been the case. So the problem's going to be, and it's already coming to a head. We're watching it play out. Is either you got to get to running Kevin Stefanski's offense, or we're going to keep watching whatever the hell this is on Sundays with the Browns. And that's putting Deshaun Watson back there in shotgun, let him try to scan the field and look around like he knows how to read a defense or anything else, and then struggle to be able to figure it out. Instead of just putting him under center, running all these outside zone schemes, the boots and everything else off it, trying to make life easy for him, and doing what actually could be something similar or close to Kevin Stefanski's offense. Having him play with some sort of sense of timing and rhythm. But the reality is, whoever is making that decision, and I think it's pretty clear and apparent, it's not Kevin Stefanski. To keep Deshaun Watson in there is only holding back this football team. And I'm sure we're going to keep hearing people on social media try to come to the defense of Deshaun Watson. And it's most likely his agent and the whole PR campaign behind it. That's how this works, especially when he's paid $230 million. There's a lot of people who've put a lot of money and time into this to make sure it looks okay and he doesn't take all the blame for it. But the truth of the matter is, it is awful to watch. And unless the Browns put in Jameis Winston, give him a shot, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I don't care. I don't care who they put in. They need to try to find a way of getting a spark for this offense and for this team, because it feels like this team doesn't believe in him anymore. And it feels like this team's going to lose belief in their coach too, and the decision makers, if they don't find a way of getting him to play better football. because it is awful to watch.
So he threw for 289 in a game, week 3 last year against the Titans. That was his high as a Cleveland Brown quarterback. His high this year, yardage-wise, was 196.
Dang.
Derrick Henry ran for 199 last week. So it's – and here's the part that I find funny about it is, you know, they're asking and they're just kind of throwing different questions and trying to find solutions. Are you going to give up play calling duties? It's not a Stefanski problem. We've seen multiple quarterbacks in all shapes and sizes in Cleveland have success there. They went to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield. They went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski was there both of those times. Like, this is clearly a Deshaun Watson problem. Yeah, everybody's trying to find, well, what else could it be? No, it's him.
It is a Stefanski problem, though.
How?
Because he's the head coach. So it is a Stefanski problem. But I think what you're saying is correct in the sense that he can't figure him out. He can't figure out how to be successful with Deshaun Watson. So I feel like this is kind of like him saying, listen, I'm giving up play calling duties. Like, hey, Dorsey, maybe you can figure this dude out. Maybe you can figure it out. I'm done. Hands up in the air. Like I just there's nothing I can do to remedy why this guy isn't doing more for us as a quarterback with me calling the plays. So he's basically giving you guys, just like how we just talked about Coach Franklin, like kind of rolling State College Airport under the bus, for not being, good enough to handle the needs of what's taking place. This is Kevin Stefanski making sure people get an idea of the fact that I'm rolling Deshaun Watson under the bus because I can't, it's something I can't figure out. It's not going to work. So let me
you're
just
saying Stefanski's throwing Deshaun under the bus?
Yeah, in a way, in the sense that let somebody else call the plays. Like, I'm going to show you that it's not me. It's my team, and I have to give up the play calling duties for somebody else to call the plays, but maybe he can do a better job than what I can. I'm basically saying to y'all, I'm done. I can't do it. Like, so it is kind of he's rolling Deshaun under the bus because he's basically saying, I can't help this dude. Like, sorry, I can't help you. This ain't no we're holding hands, we'll figure it out. Let's see where we end up. It's like, let's go all the plays. Yeah, that's what I would call it. I mean, I don't think it's throwing shade. I just think he's making sure that people understand that I can't do it. Like, I can't – my offense, like you're saying, my offense does not fit what Deshaun Watson tries to do. And so I'd rather – can you do it, Ken? Can you figure the dude out? Okay, you take on the play calling duties. You're the OC anyway. I trust you. I bought you here. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, it's
have at it.
Yeah.
Because if it don't work with that, they probably all might – I don't know. Are they looking for new jobs? I mean – are you looking for a new job if you're Kevin Stefanski and Ken Dorsey after this debacle with Deshaun Watson?
I mean, if Stefanski gets fired by the Cleveland Browns after this year, because the season's over, like if he gets fired after this year, I think he'll get 100%. He'll get another head coaching job because people are going to look at his resume and go, listen, he's proven it with multiple quarterbacks. It was just whatever the hell that diaper fire was that they gave $230 million to that couldn't work. Like, it just didn't work. And I don't know that people around the league look at it as a Stefanski problem. I think they look at it as that guy's broken. Like, Deshaun Watson is not anywhere close to the same player. And I think if they decide to move on from Stefanski, I don't think he's going to have a problem finding another job.
I think the greater issue, too, is they're stuck in this situation because it's going to take the owner, Jimmy Haslam, to move off of it. He's ultimately the one that agreed to the contract. When you have a contract that is record-setting in the amount that's fully guaranteed, a fully guaranteed 5-year deal at signing, when you make this sort of trade for a guy that has 24 separate lawsuits off the field that you're dealing with, and you give up the draft capital that you give up in exchange for him, when you do all of that, that is not a general manager decision. It's not a head coach decision. That is an owner. That's an owner's decision. Jimmy Haslam ultimately is the only one that can unwind this entire situation. And I would guess this,
unwinding.
based on how things ended for Baker Mayfield, who would have been a better option, their best option, to find a way of working it out, getting an extension, seeing what this team could have been if he was playing as their quarterback. Instead, they find themselves now with a guy who's not playing anywhere near to the level of football that he was playing at during his days in Houston. And a team that is as talented as any, even despite some of the injuries that they do have, that is struggling to find a way of wanting to play behind this guy. And so there's only one way out of it, and there's only one person to make that decision, and it's Jimmy Haslam. That's the bottom line. That's the truth to all this. Because of the magnitude of the contract, the cash that's been paid out, the hit that you're going to have to take, whether you trade him or release him, and I don't even know how you'd go about trading him at this point, because I don't think anyone else wants to absorb that contract. So you'd have to make some big-time considerations there, and how much more you'd have to pay as part of that contract, kind of something similar to the Denver Broncos right now paying for, Russell Wilson not to be there. That would be, in essence, what the Browns would have to do and hamstring themselves for the future with their salary cap if they wanted to move on from him. So it's why I've said from day one of this season, regardless of how bad Deshaun Watson is and plays, it doesn't matter. The contract protects him. This is the good and bad to having a fully guaranteed 5-year deal. You don't have that when you're talking about, football very often. Other sports, yes. And you see players be able to flex their leverage and take time coming back from injuries and not feel as much pressure as compared to an NFL player. When you get injured, you feel the pressure to come back because you don't have many guarantees, or you don't have many years of guarantees in your contract. So you're forced to sometimes come back before you're even healthy or ready. Not the case here. So the reality is this contract's great from a player perspective because he's protected, and despite the fact that he's not playing well, he's going to get that cash. Unless this off-the-field lawsuit, this new one, ends up playing a factor in some part. But this all comes down to Jimmy Haslam and whether or not Jimmy Haslam will make the decision at some point to move on from Deshaun Watson, or if he's going to move on from the people underneath him that really didn't have final say in the decision to bring Watson in the first place, but are going to take the fall for him.